felt like a juggernaut.
We're creating superhumans.
This is not just a sporting competition. This is big business.
Our mission as a company is to give everyone in the world the opportunity to live enhanced.
Most people enter into it with short-term gains, but deep down it's causing problems.
I just rolled to the back of my head. I'm having a seizure on the floor. Any longer it would have been straight into a cardiac arrest.
2026 is the year PEDs could go mainstream. For decades, PEDs were a dark secret.
Damn, that was nasty, that one.
Hidden behind closed doors. But not anymore. Ex-Team GB swimmer Ben Proud is no cheat. 15 years of hard work in the pool resulted in him becoming a world champion and Olympic medalist. But last year, he gave it all up.
That's the definition of enhanced, baby, right there.
This isn't just sport. This isn't just athletes. It's a revolution.
The inaugural Enhanced Games takes place this weekend in Las Vegas. 42 elite athletes across swimming, track and field and weightlifting competing with one goal: to find out how fast, strong and powerful a human can really be. Where other competitions ban performance-enhancing drugs, here they permit it under a strict medical regime. Dubbed by some as the Olympics on steroids, the Enhanced Games is offering athletes the chance to compete without limits. And for every world record broken, there are big money prizes worth up to $1 million. I've come to Abu Dhabi to meet the athletes training for the Enhanced Games, to find out why some of the world's finest sports people are risking their careers, their reputations and potentially their health.
This one here.
For 4 months, the athletes here in Abu Dhabi will live and train in a 5-star hotel and sports complex. Supervised by a team of doctors, they're offered a range of performance-enhancing drugs, from testosterone to anabolic steroids, human growth hormone and EPO, even stimulants like Adderall and modafinil, taken in an effort to become the very best. Importantly, these substances have been approved by the US regulator to treat medical conditions, but they've never been sanctioned for a sports tournament, and without the medical oversight, their use would be illegal. It's an extraordinary offer, but nothing like this comes without cost.
Due to making one of the hardest decisions of your life, you're able to have all of your training paid for, your food, your accommodation, but your reputation's on the line.
It's going to be tricky. You know, I think as soon as you step past that line, your whole world of being a clean athlete is completely gone. You know, everything I've done in the past, I've done it to the highest standards I could do so. I still believe that my whole career is there. It's written in writing. It's done. That is my legacy that I'm leaving behind. What I've earned in my career is a fraction of what could be earned in one night. This is what I've signed up for. You know, people want to see the fastest human on land, the fastest human in water, the strongest man on earth. Like, people want to see that. And, you know, whether you call it racing or performance, like, it's going to be incredible to watch.
Ben's story is just one of dozens here in Abu Dhabi, each with their own reasons for making the leap.
The winner of the Enhanced Games will be determined by the hard work in the swimming pool, the weights room, and of course here on the track. But for the first time, as a part of a controversial medical trial, those who choose to take performance-enhancing drugs will have that unnatural edge.
Reece Prescott was once one of the fastest sprinters on the planet, a European silver medalist and Olympic finalist, but it was a career blighted by injuries. Last summer, with sponsorship gone and elite athletics behind him, he was up at 5 AM doing removal shifts while working as a personal trainer. The Enhanced Games offered him a final shot.
Has there ever been a time when you've pushed your body too far?
Of course, I've broken everything. Like, I literally,
Hamstrings, I can't count how many times I've done my hamstring. I've literally done every injury you could imagine. I've sat out from a professional sport for a year.
For Reese, the prize money is a big part of it, but so is the medical support. Now Reese has not confirmed whether he'll be enhanced, but drugs like human growth hormone are on offer, with the expectation that it might offer athletes plagued by injuries another chance to find out how far it can really go. Australian swimmer James Magnussen was the first athlete to take the leap back in 2024. 7 years after retiring from a clean career that saw him win Olympic gold and become a world champion, he made the controversial decision to start using performance-enhancing drugs as part of an early version of the Enhanced Games. But things didn't quite go to plan.
I felt like a juggernaut, particularly on land. My strength went through the roof, my health stats were better, everything felt great. I wasn't as quick in the pool because, surprisingly, that extra 40 pounds of muscle didn't quite flow.
Magnussen failed to break the world record, but for the organisers it wasn't a setback, because the Enhanced Games is about far more than simply breaking records, because this is a clinical trial, and its ambitions go far beyond sport. For decades, elite sports has treated performance-enhancing drugs as the ultimate taboo. And despite generations of doping scandals, there is surprisingly little transparent research into what these drugs actually do when used by otherwise healthy adults.
What our mission is as a company is to give everyone in the world the opportunity to live enhanced. And we do that by firstly creating awareness through sports that performance enhancements under the right clinical and medical supervision actually can be very good for people. And once we created that awareness, we give people access to those performance enhancements. But what does it mean to be enhanced? It's very subjective. For some people, it might be taking multivitamins, doing cold plunge and sauna. For other people, it might be doing injectable hormone therapy. Where you sit on that spectrum is entirely up to you. But what we're building is a product suite that allows all of the people, independent of where they sit on the spectrum, once they choose to get enhanced, to work together with us on that.
Some doctors say it can never be safe to offer enhancements to all of society unless they have a medical reason to do it. How do you build your business model with so many people against your core concept?
Look, I think it's an interesting point of view, right? Nothing in life can ever be made fully safe. There's people that die every year from taking aspirin. It just happens, it's very sad. The only thing that we can do is have as much of a personalized approach that we can possibly have to the products that we're offering, and making sure that with consistent medical and clinical monitoring, the people that choose to do it are doing it safely.
It's a vision that reframes risk entirely, and inevitability weighted against potential rewards. And for competitors like Emily Barkley, the promise of a clinical trial are worth more than the chance to break records.
I had a conversation, with my family that I'm just so excited to be part of a study that, is around longevity medicine. So if I can help, somebody down the road that, struggles to play catch with his kids or go on long bike rides because he gets tired, like if this research can help that person, then I'd be super proud to be a part of it.
This is big business. The company has just gone public, quietly reaching a valuation close to $2 billion. And with backing from investors including Donald Trump Jr. and right-wing Silicon Valley billionaire Peter Thiel, critics have labelled the Enhanced Games the MAGA Olympics, a characterisation organisers strongly reject. Supporters of the Games frame it as a breakthrough in longevity science. Opponents see something very different. A high-stakes experiment dismantling sport's most basic safeguards.
I think the biggest misconception about Enhanced Games is that it's inherently dangerous, and it's actually quite the opposite.
Dr. Dan Turner, the Games' head of athlete safety, is a true believer. Not only does he think the Games will transform sport, he believes the science behind them could eventually transform society.
You agree that it is a controversial goal?
Yeah, for many people it's a controversial goal because they don't fully understand the systems and the medical processes that are put in place. So in that way we're helping not just sick people become less sick with drugs, but we're helping great people do great things with the same drugs.
Are you going to be creating superhumans, or is this just super risky?
I think we're creating superhumans, and I think everybody has the ability to be a superhuman. I like the notion that no one is limited. We just need to find out what is limiting someone. Is it mind? Is it body? And once we do that, using medical assessments and the best of our knowledge of understanding what it is that they want to achieve in their life, they can be superhuman. And if you get many superhumans and you bring them all together, well, you know, then you have a superhumanity.
It's a remarkable claim, but not everyone is convinced that the science justifies the risk. For Olympic silver medalist Ewan Thomas, this superhumanity risks undermining the very nature of sport.
It'll make me feel sick, if I'm honest with you. I just fear for sport, I really do, because I just think it's sending the incorrect message. And yes, I understand the temptations because there's going to be money involved. But now, you're not becoming the best, you're becoming a fake version of yourself.
And the enhanced games will say, well, our goal is to create superhumans beyond just the athletes. It is regular people feeling faster, stronger, fitter. What's wrong with that?
I think the danger is the more we see of the enhanced games, the more normalised drug taking will become. There's gyms like this all around the country where people do cheat, but all of a sudden, it won't be just the 1 or 2% of people who want to cheat to be as big as they can be to feel great about themselves. It'll be 90% of people do it because that is a normal thing to do.
The World Anti-Doping Agency has condemned the Games, warning that it sends a dangerous message to young people around the world. The Enhanced Games reject these claims, but record-breaking athletes will always be an inspiration, and people have never needed much encouragement to follow in their footsteps. The worry is that this time they might follow a little too closely. Across the world, health and fitness has never been bigger, and so is the pressure to enhance.
Performance-enhancing drugs are not only being used by professional athletes anymore. A lot of the older research was focusing on athletes who are doping or bodybuilders specifically who are competing with their body, but increasingly so you have younger populations using them, and the primary aim for a lot of people is just about body image. You also have to remember that with the Enhanced Games, this is not just a sporting competition, this is a for-profit company. So these are people seeking to make money off the use of these substances and the normalisation of these substances. Across the board, there is this huge societal pressure to consistently achieve your absolute peak, whether that is in the workplace or it is your physical body. And people are expected to do it all now. This is big business. It normalises this kind of behaviour of looking for external products to enhance your body. And if people are not able to qualify for those medically prescribed versions, what you see is people looking for slightly higher risk alternatives online.
For some, what begins as a shortcut to self-improvement can quickly turn into something far darker. So I travelled to Middlesbrough to meet someone who knows exactly where that road can lead.
Zach first started taking performance-enhancing drugs at just 16. He was injecting by 17, and over the years he spent well over £30,000 on the drugs. At first, the drugs worked wonders.
You're looking good. How you feeling?
Good. So the way steroids used to make me feel was invincible. The only time I was really happy was when I was in that gym. I was injecting or taking a tablet. I thought I was Superman, you know, and as much as I thought I was trying to find myself physically and mentally, I was losing myself in the process, huge, you know, and I was losing everything around me as well. But when I was on them, nothing could stop me. It felt good. You know, it felt, I felt worthy.
At 16, you started that journey, but each year were you taking more and more?
Yeah, it's like a vicious circle. You know, you're starting up here and you think, oh, maybe if I take this, I can look like that. If I take a bit extra, I can look like this. And if I take even more, then I'm going to like look like this.
What stack of drugs were you taking?
At my peak, a lot. 17 injections a week and 49 tablets a week I was taking at my peak. You know, that was so daily injecting tablets every day, throughout the day. So yeah, it was intense.
But there was a cost to flying that close to the sun, and things came to a head last spring when he suddenly collapsed.
I had a road to the back of my head. I'm having a seizure on the floor. And luckily enough, the ambulance was a 2-minute drive, because any longer it would have been straight into a cardiac arrest. Arrived at the hospital and straight away just into an induced coma. Yeah, spent 7 days in that coma, and like I said, they tried to bring me out a couple of times, but every time they'll bring me out I was having a seizure. My partner, my mum, got took to her side and said, look, this is serious. You need to prepare yourselves for the worst.
Zach's near-death experience has turned his life upside down, and the road to recovery is a long one.
Every day I wake up and I would have loved to put an injection in my ass, because I'm still on my recovery. It's an uphill battle for that.
What was your wake-up call? Almost losing my family. And the devastation that I almost left them. The situation that I got myself into was nothing compared to what they were feeling at the time, and what could have got a lot worse. When did you realise you were an addict?
Being laid in that bed and not being able to speak, having a piss bag on, things hanging out my arms, being pushed around in the hospital in a wheelchair, having to learn to walk again, having to learn to speak. You know, that's when you understand where you've come and what you've done, yeah.
I understand the desire to look more desirable. It's not so easy to think about what happens in 5, 10 years' time. While superficially the adaptations we see appear to be positive and desirable, deep down it's causing problems. Not just with heart health, with blood vessel health, with blood pressure, with blood lipids. All of these things become abnormal and pose a risk 5, 10, 20 years down the line. Being conscious that people start using these substances generally in their 20s, you're looking at problems in your 30s and 40s. We're used to dealing with these diseases in 70s and 80s. In terms of your heart health and your blood vessel health, it is accelerating abnormality. It's accelerating a disease process. It is the opposite of aging gracefully.
Zach is steadily returning to fitness and beginning to rebuild his life. Research suggests that anabolic steroid users face up to 10 times the risk of sudden cardiac death. After years of heavy steroid use, there's still questions about what it may have done to his body.
We know that millions of people, young kids in the gym, are using these performance-enhancing drugs all the time. These everyday people in the gym that just want to improve their aesthetics, want to improve their image, want to improve their strength, and it's usually young people.
Coming in.
Thank you for having me, appreciate it.
So we're going to go through a few tests today.
Yeah.
Zach's come to Liverpool to meet researchers who spent the last 6 years studying the impact performance-enhancing drugs have on the heart. First, Zach has to tell them exactly what he was taking.
You got equipoise, that was 250 milligram a week. Testosterone, 450 milligram.
It was a cocktail of steroids, hormones and prescription drugs, week in, week out.
That's 900 milligram a week, split Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
A lot of these hormones, such as testosterone and human growth hormone, are used in clinical medicine. They're not licensed for use and they're not recommended for use to go beyond normality or to be supernormal. And that's when we start to see problems. You're messing with a very finely tuned body that's been evolved to deal with these hormones for millennia. And it doesn't justify the risk.
Then the tests begin. An ECG, an echocardiogram,
Keep going, keep going. That's good.
and a grueling stress test on an exercise bike, pushing Zach's heart to the limits to see how it responds under pressure.
So far, we are finding that probably around 60-70% of people have some impact on their heart when they're actively using these substances.
Yeah.
So to some extent, it's lucky that you've got away with 10 years and come out with a normal heart. You can see how you may be lucky that you're not using these substances anymore. You can argue whether the event was particularly lucky, but you know that trigger was unfortunate.
Yeah.
We can say that not using these supplements now, a heart is performing well and performs well with exercise.
For Zach, it's the news he desperately needed to hear. But the professor's warning is unambiguous. Zach has had a lucky escape.
I think it's clear to me that you shouldn't start using those supplements again, though I think I'm preaching to the converted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Most people enter into it with short-term gains. It's relatively easy to look at short-term. It's not so easy to think about what happens in 5-10 years' time. While superficially the adaptations we see appear to be positive and desirable, deep down it's causing problems. Being conscious that people start using these substances generally in their 20s, you're looking at problems in your 30s and 40s. We're used to dealing with these diseases in 70s and 80s.
Banned in elite sport, taking performance-enhancing drugs remains the ultimate taboo. They circulate in the shadows. They sat on the fringes of fitness culture. But if the enhanced game succeeds, these substances could be redefined, safe, controlled, even beneficial. Enhance says safety is their priority, but outside that environment, the risks don't disappear. And if enhancements goes mainstream, so too could the consequences. Dependency, long-term harm, and the pressure to keep going further. For people like Zach, those consequences are already too real.